Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of Tarzan Lord of the Jungle from Tarzan the Epic Adventures by Trendmasters. So this is one of their more deluxe figures. It comes in a box and actually has sound, and we'll be taking a look at that. I'm going to try to replace the batteries to get that to work. And so the box is pretty cool. Mine's a little worse for wear. I got this in an eBay auction. And unlike other boxes, this one is actually green, which is kind of an interesting change of pace. We got jungle green. And you can see on the back, you can see all the different figures in the line. And also worth noting, this is worth 3 Tarzan points. So since it's a more deluxe figure. And as you can see, there are instructions on changing out the battery. So we're going to take a whack at that in a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. And so we're going to slice this piece of tape. And then, okay, I think this is still sealed. Let's see. Either that or I'm just destroying this box for no reason. So it turns out I was destroying the box for no reason. So what you want to do is you want to slice both these pieces of tape. And then you want to open it up like this, and then you won't destroy the box. And so this just slides right out, and this is actually a blister card that you do have to rip up off the backing. But once you do that, you're ready to go. So there you go. There you have Tarzan and his little monkey friend there. And so here's everything he comes with out of the packaging. Let's take a look at his accessories. So he comes with what is called Realistic Cheetah. And I would say that is a pretty accurate description of this guy. Just look at all the beautiful detail. I mean, this is just a gorgeous sculpt. And he has no articulation, but I don't think he needs to. I mean, this is a great little action pose for Cheetah. So Cheetah was in the movies of Tarzan from the 1930s to the 1960s, and was also in a Tarzan TV show from 1966 to 1968. It is as dated a reference now as it was back in the 90s, but the point of the line was for people to discover different Tarzan characters from the novels and stuff. So a reference to the movies was kind of a cool thing to put in there. Here is a spear, which is a commonly associated weapon for Tarzan. And it's quite nice. It has these little ties on it. Wish it had a little more color on it. But other than that, I think this is a pretty cool spear. Got a nice shiny point. A little bit of paint flaws here, but you know, if it's been a used spear, you know, if he's had it a while, you know, it would show signs of aging anyway. So, you know. And here is a shield. And this is beautifully detailed. I love this. It's a quite nice shield. And we'll see how this clips onto Tarzan. He also comes with this knife. And this knife actually has a little bit of a paint flaw right there, which is unfortunate. But, you know, for display purposes, you know, especially if it's in his hand, you won't see that. But it's pretty nicely sculpted. This is the standard knife that comes with all the Tarzan figures. And he also, and this is crazy to me, he comes with the locket from the novels, which is just a really, really nice touch. They really didn't have to do, but just shows how much they go out of the way to be faithful to the source material, and that's great. So let's take a look at Tarzan. So he is a 5.5-inch scale figure, and he has 5 points of articulation. So he can rotate his head. He can rotate his arms. He's a little stiff. He's been... That is what his yell sounds like on low battery. We'll be trying to fix that. So as I was saying before Tarzan interrupted me, his arms move a little stiff because he's been in that packaging for 20-some years. His legs can move too. He can sit and all that good stuff. So he has a pretty good action pose. And some people want more articulation. You know, they want the ab crunch. They want, you know, the bolts in the arms. They'll let them, you know, bend their elbows and all that good stuff. But I kind of like old figures like this that have limited articulation because it doesn't break up the sculpt and you can just appreciate it a little more this way. You know, it doesn't quite take you out of that experience as much. The only thing that does is these weird little things on his arms, which you really aren't going to see unless you get up close, but there is this weird little knob at the top of his arms. I'm not sure why that's there. He has a holster to hold his knife, and you can just put the knife in there, and it slides right in. And Tarzan is making his attempt to growl again. And so for to lock it, you just unsnap it at the back, put it around Tarzan's neck, and then just re-snap it once you get it on there. So here he is with the locket and the knife in his holster. So this is what I would consider to be your complete Tarzan Lord of the Jungle. And it looks pretty nice. He is not based on Joe Lara, who played Tarzan in Tarzan the Epic Adventures. This is more based on the novels, which I think is appropriate. I think, you know, this is kind of the definitive Tarzan, or at least a version of your definitive Tarzan from the novels. Obviously, there's a million different ways you could do them, but I think this is a pretty good way to do it. And here he is with a spear in his hand. It fits quite well and it looks really cool. Now the shield is where it's going to get a little weird because on closer examination, this thing does not have any way to snap onto his hand. So instead, what you do is you snap it onto the spear itself. And so there's just some little grooves back here. You put the spear in, and that's what you do with the shield. So he's going to hold the shield by holding the spear. So it still looks cool, but I really wish he could hold that shield in his other hand. But other than that, I think these two look really great. I actually really wish I had like a jungle background because it just really feels like they should be in the jungle. And so let's try to fix Tarzan's sad, sad yell. So weirdly enough, the battery compartment is in Tarzan's butt. And you can tell because there's actually a little symbol for the batteries. And you're going to want to switch it out with these kinds of batteries. So I don't have a tool that is working, or maybe it's just me. I'm not very handy with this sort of thing. So I'm going to take it someplace and see if I can get somebody to switch these batteries out for me. Okay, so it's been a little bit of a journey on this one. So I went by Office Depot thinking that they regularly do little bitty screws like this to change out batteries, but they said they don't, and they didn't have anything that small, and recommend I go by a hardware store. I went by a hardware store and bought a set of like little bitty wrenches that a gentleman at Lowe's who actually was able to get it started suggested. And so out of that set, this is the particular head that was finally able to do it. It's a flat head, and it's a 5/64 head that actually was able to unscrew this. And big shout out to my dad. He actually did it. Thank God, he is a hero. And so now we have interchanged the old batteries with the new, and at long last you shall hear Tarzan's yell. And that is fantastic. That is classic Tarzan yell. That's not from the TV show. That's not like Joe Lara version or one of the modern versions. That's just a classic Tarzan yell, which I think is just a perfect choice here. So that's worth it, guys. It's a lot of effort to get these batteries changed out, but if you can, it sounds fantastic. And so here's the new Tarzan I opened beside of the one I got when I was a teenager back in the 90s. And the one I got was Lord of the Jungle, but he came with different accessories. He had a bow, He's got this quiver with some arrows in it, and those are individual arrows that will fall out, so just be careful. And then he's got this bendable snake, which I really, really love. But that being said, now that I've got this other one that I didn't know existed, I gotta say it's really cool. I really love them both because it kind of completes, you know, all these weapons and animals that you associate with Tarzan. So I think they're both cool. It just comes down to personal preference, or you could get them both. And here he is with Tarzan of Mars. And Tarzan of Mars comes with a couple weapons and a shiny loincloth that I took off. But what I wanted to point out was that these two figures, if you took out off all these accessories for Tarzan of Mars, is the same, except it is missing the knife holster that is on the Lord of the Jungle version of Tarzan. But otherwise, they're the same figure. So if you wanted to, you could get this for a Frank Frazetta style Martian warrior, but when you take off all his armor, he is basically Tarzan Lord of the Jungle as well. So you get kind of a twofer with Tarzan of Mars if you're looking to save money and just, you know, get one Tarzan you can display in multiple ways. And because they are on that old 5.5-inch scale that Vintage Masters of the Universe was on, He-Man can hold the spear and looks pretty darn cool with it. And, you know, he looks pretty cool with Tarzan and the animals in the line. So if you ever need a snake or a monkey with He-Man, there you go. So, word of warning on this bow from the figure I got back in the 90s, the other Lord of the Jungle version of Tarzan. While I was trying to put this over He-Man's head to see if it looked cool with him, this string came loose. And it goes in this itty bitty hole in this bow, and I'm not even sure if the camera's picking it up, but it's a very, very tiny hole, and I'm not sure how to get it back in there. So just be cautious if you're messing with the bow. I probably haven't messed with it a whole lot since I got the figure 20 some years ago, because I don't prefer to pose my Tarzan with it. So just keep in mind it can, you know, come loose, and that kind of sucks. So overall, I would say this is a great Tarzan figure. Whether you want to get him or the version with the snake and the bow and arrow is kind of a matter of preference. I think they're both good. I mean, if you can get them on a deal, I think it's great to have all these accessories for your Lord of the Jungle figure. And if you can get that Tarzan yell working, it is a great added bonus. It sounds fantastic. So that's it for this review. Like and subscribe for more videos. And next time we'll be taking a look at Numa the Lion from Tarzan the Epic Adventures. So join us. See ya.